Linda, we can start.
Yes, we can start.
Yeah, it's time. Let's go.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Everybody who is joining us today for our live webinar. Very nice to see you here. My name is Linda, and I'm from ProductStar Global. And today's webinar is called "Things Every Mobile Product Manager Needs to Know." And our guest speaker today will be Abhijeet Pawar, who is a senior program manager at Mercari and founder at 3 other startups. So I think we're going to have a great time today. We're going to get some very insightful and interesting and useful information. And I hope you're really going to enjoy today's webinar. So in the beginning, I would also really like to ask you to participate actively and be active and proactive. And really, while following our conversation here online, please send us your questions and comments in the chat, because we really want to hear from you, more what your thoughts are, what your questions are, what you're interested in. And basically, the ones who have most interesting and coolest questions will be rewarded at the end. I'll tell you about it a little bit later. Also, I would like to say to those of you who are worried that you weren't able to be here live with us, you'll be able to see this full recording of this webinar and this presentation basically on our YouTube channel, and also, of course, on our Telegram channel. And it will be available on our Telegram channel tomorrow on April 25th. So be sure to follow up us there. And speaking of being active today, so the best questions will really receive some really cool gifts at the end of this session. So guys, really, I'm asking you, please be active, send us questions, we've got this great opportunity. You have this great, insightful speaker, Abhi. So please, just chat along. So moving on with our presentation. So for those of you who haven't heard about us before, basically, I would like to give you some more information about our product management course, which is our online course, and it will start on April 30th. So basically, this course consists of 60 lectures and 60 practical exercises, which is really important. So which means that it's not only theory, but also lots of practical hands-on approaches from verified industry professionals. Our platform allows you to complete the course at your own pace, so it's very convenient. You can go as fast as you wish. So for those who you don't have any previous knowledge, and you might take it slower, you might need more time, it's okay. And for those of you who have gotten more experience in this field, you can go, faster basically and complete the course sooner. So it's up to you guys. So it's very convenient. At the end of the course, we'll help you find an employer. And also we'll help you prepare, your CV, your resume, and we'll also help you to prepare for your job interviews. So we'll give you lots of great tips from the industry. And also another thing is that our course provides you with great networking opportunities. You can communicate with your peers, with other participants within the course group, and also you can receive the mentor support, which is very important. So you'll all be assigned a mentor, and you'll be in touch with him or her, and you can ask questions, you can ask, whatever, you have some problems, issues with something, so we'll be there to help you with that. So what can you expect from our course? First of all, just to give you some overall insight, first of all, is the basic product manager skills, which include running A/B tests, also mock-ups, customer development. Then you'll have more insightful knowledge on skills for mid-level product manager as well, which include like unit economy, soft skills, growth, reboots, overhauls. Then we'll be working, more on mobile products as well, like onboarding users, app store secrets, mobile analytics, And just moving on, we'll have also some, level up for product managers. So which includes OKR, budgeting, hiring, international products. And at last, of course, after all this, theory and also homeworks and then practical, case studies, will help you, with your, graduation project. There's going to be a thesis you're going to work on, which you can add to your portfolio. And we are, of course, also going to assist you with your new employment activities. We can help you search for new jobs, help you prepare your resume, your CV. So all kinds of useful things for you that you can get on this online course with us. So a little bit more about our guest speakers. As I told you, we have got some, great ones with really great skills and, a lot of experience and knowledge in the industry. Just to make it a little bit bigger, so you can see better. Yeah. So for example, we have Prashant Kumar Sonu, who is the senior product manager at Microsoft. He was also giving a live webinar some week ago, so you can check out our YouTube channel and just see some introductory and some useful tips, about his experience as a product manager. Then we have Michael Karpo, who is the product director at Skyeng. Also, we have Adrian Milnikin, who is the chief product officer at Evenea. Then we have Andrei Mende, who is the product manager at Booking.com. Sorry, can I go back to that? And we have some other ones. Yeah, and then we have like Anna Nomo, who is the senior product management at Zelium. Roman Abramo, who is the product director at Caprice, and Vera Rapkina, who is the head of reviews at Apollo. Moving on. So, of course, if you want to find out more details and more information about our course, you can follow the links which are just underneath this video, basically. As you can see here, you can press on the details, yeah, and you can go to our website. You can also leave your name, your phone number, your email, your details, and we'll make sure to be in touch with you. So any questions you've got, anything you want to ask us, basically, please get in touch, and me or my colleagues, will get back to you as soon as possible. And just to introduce you now, sorry. Yeah, to our speaker today. His name is Abhijeet Pawar, and he's got a great personality, very versatile guy. He's been a soccer player. He's got a long 10+ years experience as a techie. He's traveled the world. He's been to more than 20 countries. He's built 4 startups, and now he's currently the senior program manager at Mercari company. So, yes, I think I've introduced you now, and the word goes to you. I hope you are all going to enjoy Abhi's presentation. So please, yeah, just still be active and ask questions and comments, yeah, in the live chat, please. So the word goes to you, Abhi, yeah? So I'm going to click off my screen, switch off my screen, and I'm going to hand the presentation over to you now.
Thanks a lot, Linda. So from where can I present? Share. So can you see my screen? Can you see the presentation?
Yes, I can see it. Yeah.
Okay, so thanks for the warm introduction, Linda. I'll directly like to start with the presentation. If you want, guys, you can add me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter. It's the same handle called Abhijeet PWR. Considering the experience, I have worked for 6 years at Rakuten, which is the e-commerce giant in Japan. I was the first non-Japanese employee, and I was taking care of BI strategy and global sales force. After that, I founded like 4 companies. You can check on the link that is attached in the presentation. And finally, currently, I'm working as the first senior program manager at Mercari. And I'm responsible over here for company-wide initiatives and programs. And I also train a lot of product managers that are present in the company. So yes, I have been interacting with the tech product in all the different directions. And it has been fun. And today I would like to share 11 things every mobile product manager should know. So giving the experience, so the Arunachal Now, OPIT Foundation, and Little Master, these 3 products are mobile apps. So like I'm sharing this 11 things based on my own experience. So starting with the first thing, so when I was jumping into my entrepreneurship journey, the first question before developing the mobile app was to know the difference among the mobile website, a hybrid app, and a native app. Starting with the native apps, there are some pros and cons to each and everything. So the pros for the native apps are it has the best functionality and user experience. You can't see the second slide or third slide?
I think. No, I can see the, yeah. So,
Can you see this native app slide?
yes, I can see that.
Okay, okay. So shall I continue?
Oh, it's fine. I can see it. Yeah, I think.
Okay, okay. So the pros for native apps is like it has the best functionality and user experience because it is native to the mobile device. Second is it's fastest and most responsive. It is the closest you can get to the device hardware and the features that a device provides. Third is all the native device functionalities, that is the gestures, camera, navigation, device control, etc. can be implemented with ease. And fourth, the distribution is done through the app stores, which are official for iOS, and Play Store, which is official for Android. There are some cons as well. So it must build and maintain different versions of the app. So if you're going for native apps, iOS app and Android apps are going to be separate. And secondly, the app review process of Apple and Google takes some time. I have explained that thing further, so we can deep dive into this later on. As considering the mobile websites, these are the cheapest to build. Second is like, this is simple to make and maintain because you can change it on your site. You can modify the website or the mobile site at any time. Third one is you can reach wide audience through web. You don't need to download any app. Your user can easily reach through a website which is designed for mobile. This also has some cons. It's like confined to browser sandbox. So if you're going for this type of development in the mobile websites, whatever the features or whatever the look that the browser is going to provide, you have to confine to that. Secondly, on the con side, it's like you have limited functionality because the control is inside the web. You cannot take the control of the device. And third is low retention of customers. As this is not an app, you cannot send notifications or you cannot provide engaging experience to the user to retain him in your app because this is not your app. Considering the hybrid apps, which is the mix of or stands in between the native apps and the mobile websites. The pros are you can deploy the same code across multiple platforms. Basically, it is based on JavaScript. So you can write the same code and it will bundle it into different platform codes. Secondly, you can update and iterate without going through app stores. Third is distribution through the app store. So like the other native apps, you can deploy a package into the app store and it will get notified to the users who are using the app stores. And it will show in the recent apps or recently updated apps and everything. Considering the con side, it is sluggish performance. You won't get the performance that is provided by a native app. And the second con is like it has limited access to phone functionality. So hybrid apps or the hybrid developed apps are always a step behind the native apps. Whatever features that are provided by the native apps will be later on supported by the libraries that are used to provide hybrid apps. So this will be like a step behind the native apps. As for iOS users, I would like to provide you with one example, and a major company is Facebook. So I was here during the TechCrunch Disrupt 2012. Facebook was recently went through its IPO, and Mark Zuckerberg's first public interview or public appearance was done in this conference. So Facebook went from native development to HTML5 development, and again, they reverted back to the native development. For this interview video, I have attached a YouTube link, which you can check it on later. So what happened and why Facebook went from native to HTML5 to native again is like during the native era in the first phase, they were having separate apps for iPhones, separate apps for iPads, and separate app for Android as well. So the development cost was high. So Facebook planned and decided to bet on HTML5. They internally developed their libraries, they internally came up with a code base, which they called as Face Web. What happened with this was they had a common app for all the platforms. By all the platforms, I mean iPhone, iPads, all the Android tablets and Android phones. So the development cost definitely went down. the user experience was compromised. And people, instead of using the app, started using browser websites. In the entire process, Facebook lost a couple of years of time, which is a huge time. And the Facebook stock prices, obviously not only because only of this reason, but due to some other reasons as well, as the user experience and users were not appreciating the development, it went down by 50%. Thus, Facebook decided to move back to the native platforms. So iOS had more features by that time. Like they also had ad integration, they provided push notifications, they also provided check-ins and everything. Then Facebook started using all the native features such as check-ins, camera, etc. And Facebook stock prices again went up as the user experience and users' responses were good. Moving ahead, so now you have made the decision whether to go with hybrid approach, to go with the mobile website, or to go with the native apps. Further, the pros and cons of Android and iOS. So for iOS part, it's more valuable audiences than Android are present on the iOS platform. All the celebs, all the influencer marketers are present on iOS platform. If you are based in US, then the iOS market share in the US is 60%, which is a major share. So if you're in the US, please consider launching on the iOS platform. And I have seen my friends who go iOS first and then Android, those who are based in US. Third, it is more advanced and stable as compared to Android. Considering the pros of the Android side, it's deeper market penetration. So if you're launching something that is going global, or if you're launching something in the developing countries, because of the Android phone pricing, which is lower than the iPhones, you can get your market share quickly if you're deploying on Android. And it has the larger install base, which is about 87% market share. And iOS in the global market considers only 13%. So and also it also provides built-in beta testing and then stage rollout process. It has also been implemented in the iOS now. Considering the con side of the iOS, it's a longer review process. So for iPhone apps to get in the App Store, it will take at least 1 week. And a notable thing is plenty of people or plenty of entrepreneurs try to launch their apps during Christmas period or during the New Year period. At that time, iOS takes at least 3 weeks. On the Android side, it's like 2 to 3 times of the development cost. Everybody feels that you have an Android phone and thus it will be easier and cheaper to develop for Android. But the real figures are that it's twice or at least thrice the development cost that is required for iOS. Second con on the iOS side is like it's smaller overall user base. As I mentioned, like it's only 13% when it comes to the global market share. But on the Android side, the other negative point is like it has high device fragmentation. So you will have plenty of different Android versions with plenty of other devices. So these are the distinct Android devices number. I have just recently fetched it and it's growing YOY by 20%. So by 2020 June, if this COVID-19 situation improves and plenty of companies launch their new phones, I'm pretty sure it will reach near about 67 to 70,000. So imagine releasing your app for 63,000 different variants of Android devices. Thus, coming back to the slide explanation, if you are in doubt, but you have money, then you should launch on both the platforms. However, if money is an issue and you want to try it out with the pilot and everything, which should be the standard approach, to be honest, then you should judge based on the market share. So for example, if you're based in US, definitely go for the iPhone app development. But if you're based in a developing country, then you should definitely go for Android development as the first launch. But do take care that the Android development is 2x to 3x costlier as compared to the iOS. Now the third and the major difference is like web versus mobile. So plenty of people decide like which platform they want to launch their startup. So considering the difference between web versus mobile users have two unique qualities, and every entrepreneur who is going for mobile devices launch has to take these two things in mind. First is mobile users are highly task oriented. They have a goal oriented approach. So if you're providing any app, it has to be a goal oriented app. Try to make it more and more goal oriented. Secondly, mobile users are easily disengaged. Imagine there are hundreds of apps on your phone, and if you are not taking care of keeping the user engaged in your app, there are going to be alternative apps. And now you already know there are millions of apps in App Store and also in the Play Store. So keeping a mobile user engaged into your own app is a really important and difficult at the same time. How you can do that is like you should provide gamification. You can reward the users for using your app. Third one is you can send push notifications, but don't over bombard it. Fourth one is like you should provide sharing capabilities. So for example, the fitness apps that are in the market, if you do some fitness or if you do some workout and if you provide the sharing capabilities with your friends or on social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, etc., people are going to hook to the fitness app. Thus, you need to help users achieve their goals quickly and efficiently. Another example I would like to give is about Starbucks, how the approach for web and mobile differs can be seen from a very good product that is Starbucks. So the website of Starbucks, it is focused on educating users on what they are all about. And they also provide a lot of information about their charity programs. So if you go on the website of Starbucks, you will realize that for now, I'm pretty sure they're flooded with the information that they're doing for COVID-19. There, they're just focusing on educating the user and what the company is doing. Whereas if you consider Starbucks Mobile, as it is goal oriented and they want the engagement from the user, they provide the core options for their users, which are like pay or use your gift cards, locate a store nearby, then purchase a gift card and view the menu. And definitely, like before entering the store, you can place the order and just finish it off with online payments and everything. That's it. It's a very goal oriented approach. If you want to buy a coffee, they're engaging the user with gift cards and etc. and locating the store and all that. And they're getting the things done with a goal oriented and engagement approach. Moving ahead, point number 4 is like you need to have solid understanding of standard design guidelines. Plenty of entrepreneurs get this idea that they can design their app the way they want, but that's not the way that your consumers want to consume the app. So follow the standards. For Android, there are the Android design guidelines, and for iOS, there are iOS human interface guidelines. And these are some of the best resources to reference when building or iterating your app. To give you a simple example, WhatsApp Android version and WhatsApp iOS version, both the apps look very different. Both the apps have different gestures, and that's because they're following the standard libraries provided by Android and iOS platforms. Moving to point number 5, MVP model for mobile iteration. What is an MVP model? So basically, your startup idea or your product has to be a solution to a problem. Based on this, we have 6-step process. The first one is like define the problem that you're trying to solve. Second is find the simple way to solve your problem. The simpler the solution, the better the customer is going to feel about it because it's going to be simple. Third is you identify and prioritize the core features. So focus on the core functionality of the app. Don't go for fancy stuff. Go for simple core functionality. Check if you're really developing something which is core is appreciated in the market. Thus, the step 4 is like you develop a user base by providing core functionality in the app. Then you collect the usage data, and based on the data, you also check user feedbacks. Then you redefine the problem or redefine the feature set and reiterate in this manner. That's how the MVP model works. To give you an example, while building a car, don't go in the first approach, which is like you get the tires, you get the chassis, and then finally you come up with the car. In this way, what if the user is not going to like your design? Then at the end of step number 4, you're going to realize, oh, wow, this is not something that the user wanted. Whereas in the approach 2, it's like it's providing one skateboard, which is movable. So the main problem of the user is to navigate from one place to other. That can be done by the skateboard. Thus, it's working. Then you bring in the better option through a scooter. Then you bring in the better option with a bicycle. So over here, you're improvising the navigation problem for the user with speed. And then finally, after the bike is developed and the user is already happy, you provide a car which has the capacity of 4 users to navigate at the same time in same amount of time that is consumed. So that's how you go for the MVP development. Reiterate the process with small improvements. Moving at step number 6, it's like use, release, train, schedule. This is a very important step. The reason is most of the companies that I have seen, they go for feature-based shipments. And let me tell you, top 100 apps in the Play Store and in the App Store, you will find that they do the release 3 times more than the remaining 10,000 apps that are present in the App Store, that ranking wise. So in the top 10,000, if you consider the top 100 apps, they do 3 times more releases as compared to the remaining other apps. The reason is they follow the release train schedule approach. So what is the release train schedule? So basically, this is something similar to a train schedule that we find at train stations. So instead of doing feature-based shipments, release train schedules are schedules of planned releases that happen at regular pre-planned intervals, regardless of whether or not features are finished and ready to go. So basically, even if your feature is not ready, whatever things that are ready, you prepare those and you put that into the bundle and release it into the market. Obviously, you need to take care about the integration testing, beta testing, and releasing it to a certain number of users for getting the feedback correctly. Moving ahead to step number 7, constraints of the mobile app store. As I mentioned earlier, there are some constraints of the app stores as well. An app store review takes on an average of 7 days to complete. This is for Apple, and Android sometimes take 2 to 3 days to near about couple of weeks. And in December, it's really difficult for Apple users to get their app out, because if you do it at the wrong timing, you have to wait for at least 3 weeks. Secondly, your release to your entire user base is in one swoop. To avoid this, now Apple is providing phased release, where you can go like percentage-wise release, and similar thing is happening with Android, where you can do staged rollouts. Once the app is released, you can't roll back to a previous state. So this is a very important point to consider, because by thorough testing, you're going to feel more confident before releasing the app. So take care of the testing process very seriously before going on the App Store. And you cannot stop the development. Thus, you need to release more and go bold with proper testing. So your testing framework needs to be really very solid and strong. Number 8, feature flagging. This is very important. Feature flagging is really not that common even now. Plenty of companies are still reliable on the old traditional approach to ship everything in one go. So what is feature flagging? Feature flagging is a development technique used to turn features of your application on and off at a moment's notice. So you can actually control which feature you want in the market for which type of users or which type of devices. That's how the feature flagging is going to help you. So it allows companies to dog food their own app. I have attached this as a link. You can read the details about dog fooding, but basically it is like you test your app inside your own company. Second is you can do staged rollouts. It's very helpful to set up A/B testing. The fourth point is like you can roll back features at your will without depending highly on the App Store releases. And fourth, release to very specific groups of individuals. So as I mentioned, you can release to certain bracket of your users or certain devices on Android or iPhone. This also removes some of the biggest hurdles when developing on mobile, and it allows teams to develop and push forward with confidence. Number 9 is a step-by-step formula for optimization. So most of the startups, when they launch, basically focus on results. And while focusing on the results, the release process and the development process and the go-to-market strategy is neglected. It should be opposite. You should basically focus on processes over results, especially in the initial phase of your startup. You should validate the hypothesis. Like after identifying and defining the metrics, you should validate your hypothesis. How you do that? You do that by creating an MVP, thus build an MVP. And after that, you provide A/B test, or you do A/B testing on a small percentage of the users to see its effects. After validating the concept and after validating the results, you deploy it or you extend it to all the users. So in this way, analyzing the market and analyzing the features, if they're working correctly in the market, you should develop a process of deploying it to your entire user base for all the features. Number 10 is the method of discovering optimization opportunities. So how do you discover the optimization opportunities? For doing that, you have to measure two types of data. First is quantitative data. So you have to use analytics platform. So get a good visualization tool or get a good CRM in place that will provide you with all the data about the users. Second is you have to set up mobile conversion funnels. So based on your product, if it is a SaaS product or if it is a B2C product or B2B product, the mobile conversion funnel is going to be different. You have to come up with the funnel strategy. To be honest, if I start explaining about funnels, it's going to be another session. So I won't go in the deep details as of now. Third one is you identify improvement points by analyzing those funnels and by analyzing the pain points of the users, like till what step the user is coming. So is the user being aware? Is he getting the App Store search? Is he downloading the app? How many downloads you have? If the downloads are majorly happening, then how many people are actually opening your app? How many registered users you are getting? And how many registered users you can retain. So all these steps you can put in a funnel and you can measure the metrics. The second type of data that you have to measure is qualitative approach and qualitative data, which measures the quality that you're providing to the user. You do this to get deeper understanding. For doing this, you have to conduct user testing. So basically you monitor app usage and users' pain points. Secondly, you get the user feedback, so you can get the app reviews inside the app or from the App Store itself. And finally, you can also conduct user surveys by asking him direct questions like how you're feeling about the app. Is it really good? Do you want any improvements? Which is your the most painful process in the app? And all these type of things you can actually do with the user surveys. In some cases, you can actually conduct one-on-one interviews with the users as well, where you provide certain questions or you engage yourself with the user interview and get the feedback from the users about your app. Finally, point number 11 and the final point is like app discovery methods. So don't be surprised if I tell that, so this is a standard survey that was conducted by Google Research, and 51% of the people said that they have installed the apps that they have because their friends or family are using them, or it is recommended by friends or family. Thus, word of mouth is a very important tool, and if you somehow give the best quality to your users, then your users are going to spread and do the marketing for you among their friends. Even among other surveys that I have observed, 77% of today's apps are actually downloaded because somebody has told the users to download the app. Thus, providing a good quality in your app and making your customer happy should be your first marketing strategy. Considering the advertisement market, only 23% of the app downloads happen through advertisement downloads. So people spend a lot of money on advertisement, but trust me, if you maintain the quality of your app and if you keep your users engaged, that's going to be the first thing that is going to work for your marketing strategy. To give you another example, WhatsApp. WhatsApp never did any marketing publicity. WhatsApp spread it through word of mouth, and WhatsApp was downloaded to billion users because they provided the quality and satisfied the users with whatever functionalities that they were demanding for. More details, I have attached this link of Google research, which you can check and you can find more details. So I guess I'm done with my presentation and we have 25 minutes for the Q&A session.
Okay, thank you very much, Abhi. I think your presentation was really insightful, and I think our listeners would get some really useful tips from you. So yeah, just encourage our listeners to ask more questions and be more active online in the chat area. I just want to remind you that we are going to we have a giveaway gifts for you. The two coolest questions, the two most interesting questions will win this great prize of having this online 6-month course for free. So guys, just think about it. It's a very nice giveaway. It's a superb giveaway, I would say. And then we also have a book, and I'll come back to that later, a book with useful tips. So we have had some questions coming in, Abhi. So one of the questions is how to define metrics, and can you give some examples and some methods? It's from Nilojan Alvis.
Okay, so considering the metrics, as I mentioned over here, like the metrics can be dependent on what type of app you're launching in the market. So basically, to give you an example of my own app, that is Little Master, which is for kids education, what I measure, so basically it provides contents and content in the form of videos and games. And I summarize whatever metrics that I have to the parent itself. So I provide two profiles. One is the kids profile and another one is the parent profile. And the metrics that I measure for on the kids side is basically what type of videos for how much time has been watched by this kid, and what type of games for how much time is played by the kid. And based on that, I come up with my own metrics about time consumption, about the soft skill that a kid is gaining. So for example, if he's playing a game of identifying a card, then in that case, I actually show, like, I actually measure if the kid's attention span has been improved or not. And based on that, I provide that information in a dashboard format for a parent. And on the parent side, I measure like which apps are allowed by a parent for the kid to play. And secondly, I also measure like how many times the parent is getting engaged inside the app to check the metrics that the kid has been involved with.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
And I would like to continue a little bit more.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
No worries, Linda. On the overall side, I also measure like which is the top trending video that has been watched by all the kids, and which is the top trending game that is watched by all the kids or played by all the kids. And based on that, I have a recommendation engine and a machine learning pattern behind or algorithm behind that models actually tune in and recommend videos to that certain aged girl or a boy. That's how my app is working. So I would say that it depends on your app, whatever you have to measure. I hope that answers your question.
I think it does. So a user called Health Eat is asking, can you please give some best practice on A/B testing?
Okay, so considering the A/B testing, it's like you release 2 to 3 approaches. So for example, let's consider a simple design. You did some design change where you're changing the color of button, as simple as that. So considering the A/B testing approach, you provide, for example, 3 designs, which is like one button is in yellow, second one is in red, and third one is in blue. And you provide these 3 options to 3 different set of users with similar profile or similar persona. And you measure the usage of that button or the metrics of that button, like how many times the button has been clicked. And based on that, if the blue button is getting like 80% click rate, if the red button is getting like 15 or 20% click rate, and the yellow button is getting like 5 to 10% of click rate, then it's very clear that your users are appreciating the blue color button. And that way you move ahead and release the blue colored button for all your users. And definitely you test again. I guess that answers your question.
Yeah. And another user, Bharat Garch, is asking, as a founder and PM, how do you choose what features to incorporate for your MVP?
Okay, amazing question. So over here, like I haven't mentioned in these slides, but I would like to recommend 2, 3 models, or maybe like just to give you some flashback on how I came up with these slides was like I actually wanted to conduct this as part 1 for developing mobile apps, and my part 2 was going to be like coming up with the feature set. So I don't have any slides as of now, but definitely I can tell you a few or give you a gist of that. So you have to consider 2, 3 models for that. One is the Kano model. Maybe you can Google it later on, which actually shows 3 types of features you should have in your app. First one is like the basic features, which includes like, and also again, it depends on your app idea. So in my case, which is the kids app, I need to provide the content for the kids to keep them engaged. So considering the content, that becomes the basic content of my app. Second is the feature that you can provide them hundreds of thousands. The user is not going to react to that, but the more you provide, the app is going to be more engaging. So in my case, it's going to be like channels. So I provide plenty of channels such as English, then mathematics, then I provide some general knowledge channels. Like if I can provide more and more channels, the app is going to be more and more engaging. And then finally, the third type of feature, it's about being unique from your competitors. So the third type of feature is like I provide analytics of soft skills as well. So if the kid is learning and gaining like soft skills such as hand-eye coordination or attention span, I analyze that through my games and through the videos that the kid is watching. And based on that, I give that metrics or the analytics to the parent. So that's the unique type of feature. And then there are certain other models, such as based on your development teams, strength, like which approach you should have, which app features you can get into the market. And there also has to be some urgent and competitive analysis features, such as like if your competitor is moving ahead in a particular certain area, then to kill the certain area, what type of strategy you can come up with. So there are like 3, 4 metrics that you have to take care, and then finally decide the priority and come up with the features. I hope that answers your question.
Okay. And also,
Linda, I have a question. Hi,
yes.
it's Stacey here. Abhi, I have a question. Where is CusDev here in MVP and in A/B testing?
Where is what?
CusDev, customers.
Okay. Okay, so let me get back.
Yes,
so
please.
over here is like here, like after you identify and prioritize the core features, you actually test it in the market. And by testing, you have this developing like the user base. This happens when you release in the market and when you allow the users to use your app. So this is where the users are. And in the A/B testing part 2, it's like when you release your feature to certain amount of users for like 10% or 15%. Maybe I have something in the appendix. Yeah, over here. So basically, whenever you release a new feature, this is for feature flagging, but it can also be applied for MVP. You roll out to certain amount of users, you get the feedback, then you improve the feature, then you roll out to more number of users, and you repeat the cycle. This way, the customers are actually the people who judge your app feature and judge your performance. You collect the feedback and roll out to larger audience. That's how the users are engaged in your MVP or even feature flagging or A/B testing.
Agree.
I hope that
Thank you.
Yeah. We have the next question then, yeah? So listeners asking, Healthy is asking, how much time should be ideally spent, percentage of development time, for product instrumentation, and which tool is better in the market that you can recommend?
For product instrumentation is the question?
Yeah, how much time should be ideally spent of development time for the product instrumentation, and which tool is better in the market? Which can you recommend?
So to be honest, like It again depends on the features that you're developing, like number of features you want in your MVP, but I would say that keep it minimal. And if you are a startup starting right from the scratch, don't take more than 8 to 9 months to get into the market, because the market is very changing and trending, and plenty of people are providing or coming up with similar ideas. So not more than 8 months. Considering the tool set, I would say that if you're pitching to investors, uh, there are certain tools like proto.io or Marvel. These are the platforms that actually will allow you to develop the apps, like the demos of the app, without any code base. So that way you can actually showcase it to your investors and your developers as well. Like, these are the features that we are expecting. And when it comes to the developers, then definitely please trust your developers and hire good members, especially in the initial phase, that can develop good code and take it to the market. Because you will realize once you hit the market, you're going to be flooded with plenty of change requests after analyzing the data. And after that, only a good developer can actually match the pace of the demands that is coming from the market. I hope that answers the question. So proto.io, considering the tool set while developing initial launch or initial testing platform, and be very agile, go with really basics. So if you're providing a new news platform, go with like web-based mobile apps, keep it very simple. Yeah.
Okay, moving on to next question. Samarth CS is asking, when you make product decisions, how much of your decisions are guided by industry standards and user research recommendations?
So I would say industry standards, by that I'm assuming that you're considering competitive analysis, and secondly is like the standards in the designs that are provided. And by data, you mean like user feedback. So I would say that the weightage in my ideas or my strategy has always been to give the weightage to the user data. Most, like at least 70 to 80% of my decisions are based on user information and user data. And 30% is intuition, like what will work in the market. If it is really new, definitely I conduct surveys without exposing the idea. Basically, it's a skill where you ask right questions to analyze the need of the customer without exposing your idea. And then you launch the feature set. And to do this, the best thing you can do is to have user interviews or user surveys. So basically, it's the point number 10, where you analyze this type of data. So qualitative data actually helps you to deep dive, and quantitative data will help you to get an overall picture. I hope I answer your question.
Thank you. Yes. Now we have a question from Prashobh Katil. How are you selecting your user base for A/B testing or delivering a feature using feature flag?
So again, it depends on your app. So, and the feature that you're launching in the market. So giving you the example of Little Master again, which is the app for kids education. So if I'm launching a new category, I target the kids. And so my app provides education experience for 1 to 6 years old. So if I'm launching a new segment of nursery rhymes, so during nursery, the age is 3 to 4 years old. So I launched those nursery rhymes in the age group of 3 and 4. And I check how many kids are actually getting engaged with the newly launched content. And based on that, I analyze. So I have different groups, different content. I throw my content at like 2 different groups based on like 3 years old, 4 years old, 3 years old girls, 4 years old boys, 3 years old boys, and 4 years old girls. And this way I populate my content and get the feedback or check the data, like which content is getting more consumed. And based on that, my recommendation engine pulls that data and pushes it to more and more users. That's how I do it. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Well, yes, and maybe I can ask you one of my own questions while our listeners are coming up with new questions. So basically, if you were to have an interview with a new product manager who will come for, to you to look for a job, what would be the things that will make him or her stand out? Why would you hire a person now to work on, some new project, new app?
Okay, so if it again depends on what type of app I'm developing, but if we consider that we are going for something that is developing from the scratch, there are certain things that I'll check in a product manager. First, most importantly, how much his decisions are made based on data. Second is like his experience into product management, because product manager is like a mini CEO and his decision making capabilities are going to shape the app strategy in the future. So definitely his decision making capabilities based on data is something that is going to matter me a lot. And third one, very important, is his people skill, team spirit, because product manager doesn't code by himself. He gets the work done from the developers and he has to coordinate with multiple stakeholders. So these three qualities are really very prime for me while hiring a product manager. And if I have to choose only one skill, it will be people skills, because I think that the other skills comes with experience, but people skill is something that is built in, and I feel that a right mindset and right attitude of a product manager matters a lot.
Mhm.
I hope this answers your question.
Yes, thank you. I think our listeners, will bear that in mind, definitely.
Yeah.
So we have another question from Prarita Agarwal. How do you
Uh-huh.
present your ideas such that your ideas are not falling prey to plagiarism? Basically,
Okay,
how
so
avoid plagiarism? Yeah. Mhm.
right. So basically, as I mentioned earlier, we have to follow certain models while implementing the features. And if you follow certain models like Kano model, you are not going to land up in plagiarism. You have to stand unique, and you have to have at least one feature that is unique than all the other competitors. And you have to prove that this feature is actually generating more and more revenue or more and more user engagement. That's how companies grow. So there were like plenty of social networks before, but Facebook came by integrating everybody with relationship status and what they're doing and recent activities and everything, and it standed out. And the main thing that made it stand out was to go from university to university. So it became like a pride type of a thing, and that's how students got more and more engaged. So you need to find the right fit that is going to be a thing that is going to stand out your product. So it's not like how you pitch and make it stand out from the other from or stay away from plagiarism. So it's actually the feature set that you need to have that makes the product stand out as compared to your competitors. I hope that answers your question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
And another thing I would like to mention. So there are plenty of companies that just copy the Silicon Valley ideas and launch into their market. I won't call them a bad thing, because there are plenty of billion-dollar unicorns that have actually done that and succeeded into doing that. The new thing in this case is the market. And if you are good at capturing the market, even though it's a duplicate idea, but if your marketing strategy and capturing the market strategy is good, then definitely the investors are going to invest money in you, because you're going to get the market, like you're going to capture more and more market, and whoever is coming up with the original idea is going to take some time to capture the same market. So if you are based somewhere where the concept is new, definitely go ahead, capture the market, prove that you're capturing the market, and definitely the investors will send you checks. I'm pretty sure about that.
okay.
Yeah.
And then while we're waiting, maybe I'm going to ask you another question. If you could
Uh-huh.
maybe share a little bit some tips. We live in some tricky times now, of course, with all this
Mhm.
pandemic and so on. What would
Mhm.
you say that in your current job position are the main hardships now, and how do you overcome them? How to stay successful now in the market?
So to be honest, so I like to talk about my company where I'm working as a senior program manager. So Mercari is actually a C2C marketplace. So what it's something similar to OLX, but we have strong presence in Japan and in the US. So C2C means like users can directly sell to another users from using our platform. So in this case, what has happened is people are staying more and more at home. So we are pushing the users to sell their things that are not being utilized by them. And once you're sitting at home, you actually analyze or realize that there are certain things that I'm not using. So for example, just to give you an example, now it's soon going to be summer in Japan. So we are pushing like ski gears to be sold. And people who already have like multiple ski gears, they're going to sell it on the platform because summer is approaching and they're not going to use it. And definitely next year, they want to buy new gears that are better. But for the beginners, buying ski gears at this time is cheap. That's why they're going to come and buy the secondhand gears so that they won't start investing a lot of money while practicing or while, like getting into the ski or getting into snowboarding, I'm sorry. So that's how we are mapping the gap where the sellers are motivated to sell whatever is not going to be useful for them, and the buyers that are new and the buyers that are going to appreciate buying certain things are pushed ahead to buy because of the lower pricing that is provided as of now. So that's how we are mapping it. So we are actually converting this pandemic thing into an opportunity where we can improve our GMV. And trust me, our company is doing good in the pandemic thing.
Yeah. Okay.
And to answer in my app thing, like I'm also promoting more and more because kids are at home, parents are at home. Parents can easily give the devices to the kids because both of them are at home. And I'm encashing on that opportunity where I can promote my app and allow the parents to hand it over to the kids.
Yeah, that's sure. Sure. Okay, thank you so much for your answers. Yeah, Abhi. So maybe if we could just switch off your screen, I'll come back to my screen now. Just to
Sure. I guess you can see now.
So. Yeah, do you see my screen now? Yeah.
Yes.
You do, yeah. Okay. Okay, so just to wrap up our presentation, yeah, basically in our webinar we have some additional info, and we want to give away some of those gifts that I mentioned earlier, and also we have some homework assignments. So a little bit more about the course we have online, yeah, the 6-month product management course for those who have just switched on or who are watching later. So basically, it's 6 months of training from basic skills to advanced PMs. And the course is suitable for those who are just starting out in the product management field or for pumping junior mid-level skills. So both for beginners and for those who already have some experience in this field. Then we provide you with a ton of practice with mentor support along the way, and you can chat with other speakers and students. You can have offline meetings when it's possible. You can have constant content updates even after the course is over. Thirdly, you have the assistance with your employment, basically. Yeah, you can search for the new job or new employer. We help you prepare your CV, your resume, and we also help you prepare and crack that interview, basically, which is very important. And if we take a little bit deeper look at the program, basically the course program, the standard time is 6 months, but as I said earlier, you can take it slower or faster depending on your experience and your wishes, and you can go as fast as it's convenient for you. So just not to go too deep into the whole of the course, but just to give you some examples of what we have on our course. In section 1, which is basic product manager skills, we have things like mock interview, immersion into an existing product. What is a product manager? The definition of that. Product manager skills and traits. We have the product team processes and development synergy. Also product metrics, mock-ups, and other things. So I just switched. How to create an effective UI, customer development, prioritization, and also A/B testing, and how to determine your PM level. Yeah, what is your level? Are you a novice, a junior, a mid-level, or a senior? And how to level up. Basically, we give you all the tips how to succeed and grow in this field. Yeah, with all the applied analytics, and of course, the final work and final preparation for the actual job market. Yeah, just to remind you, we have We have, of course, the links here. If you are watching us now live, yeah, you can just below our video, you can see the links. You know, you can find out more details on the course, how to become a product manager. You press that, you go to our website. You can leave your contact details, your name, your phone, your email, and we'll be in touch with you, and we'll answer all of your questions that interest you, basically. So as I said before, the best questions will receive some cool gifts. Yeah, and we are approaching the end of our session. So yeah, maybe we should actually determine who will the winners be. Abby, what do you say? Do you hear me?
Yeah.
I think I noticed that you really like the question from Bharat Garj, I think it was called, about the MVP. You said a great question. What do you say? Shall we give one of the gifts to him?
Sure. It was a good question.
Yeah, okay. So that he would be the one to claim the free place, you know, on the course, basically. I think that's a great gift. What would you say the other winner for the free course would be? Should we give it to first guy who asked the question, or somebody else? There was the Health Eat with a few questions. There was Nilojan Alvis. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. Yeah. And Nilojan Alvis asked how to define metrics and give some examples, methods.
That was also a good question, actually.
Yeah,
because
and Health Eat.
Diving into like plenty of things. Yeah, so that was a good question.
Yeah, and Health Eat asked about the A/B testing and best practices, and also
somebody also asked me like how to decide the features, where I mentioned multiple models. I don't remember who asked the question, but I guess the question was like how to decide the basic features while launching an MVP. So maybe like that question was also amazing.
There was a question, how are you selecting your user base for A/B testing or developing a feature using a feature flag? That's the question. No?
Yeah. And there was one more, I guess, which was asking about MVP features, like which features to include in the MVP. I don't remember exactly, but maybe like this was the one, like feature flags and A/B testing together, I guess.
Yeah. So, okay, so I believe well, Health Eat has been quite active as well. Should we? Health Eat. Okay, so maybe, I see. As a founder and PM, how do you choose what features to incorporate for your MVP?
Exactly.
That is the Baragarj. That's the guy that we picked out first. And so we're going to give him the free place on the course.
Okay.
And then, Health Eat. So shall we give the second place on the course to Health Eat?
Sure.
Okay, Health Eat gets the second free place on the course. And then we have the book called Hooked: How to Build Habit-Forming Products, which is a great, insightful book. And we're going to give the book to Nilojan Alvis, maybe? Yeah, who was the first to ask questions and was more active in our chat. Okay, do you agree? Sure. Okay, guys, the ones that I called out, you can claim your gifts by getting in touch with you can see here, Yulia Kenya, at Yulia Kenya on the, Telegram. Yeah. So be sure you'll get your gifts and we'll be in touch with you. So just to wrap up, yeah, guys, we are suggesting you do a homework if you're really interested in this field, product management. So you need to score each product management skills that you have. Basically, we have a score from 0 to 5 using our PM skills chart. You can see that if you click on this link, productstar.org/skills. If you go to our homepage, productstar.org/skills, you can read about it more and you can fill it in an Excel table will open up. So this will help you understand your strengths and your weaknesses, and can then give you some personalized tasks to complete. Important, please be honest with yourself. That's what we're inviting, basically. Yeah, it's okay not to know everything, obviously, yeah, or even anything about a topic if you're a beginner. So yeah, basically scoring scale is 0, where you're not familiar with the skills at all, and up to 5, which means that you have an international experience and you consider yourself among the top 30 professionals in the country in this skill. And also there's a checklist of what to do. You can open product management skills chart in the productstar.org/skills. Click the download button, make copy of this document and rename it as your name and your surname and product manager skills chart. Yeah. Then rate every skill on a scale of 0 to 5 and open the folder, Product Star, drive the Google, and there's a link basically you'll see, and place your saved file there. Well, basically follow the instructions which are given on our website. And then congratulations, you will have done it. Yeah, basically. And you can also take a look at each other's homework assignments as examples or ask someone to help you. So that would actually wrap up our today's webinar. Thank you, Abhi, so much. Thank you so much for, you gave us such a great, presentation. You're really, down to earth, nice person, and you gave us lots of practical examples, not just theoretical, but really, really nice stuff. I think that our youth schools will be really grateful to you, because they'll be, able to apply it into their jobs, basically, and into their lives. So thank you for everybody.
Thanks a lot, Linda. You were a great host today.
Thank you so much. Glad to hear that. Okay, everybody. So yeah, let's finish up our webinar. Thank you, everybody who was participating in the questions section. Yeah, and our chat. Yeah, be sure that this video will be on our YouTube channel and also on our Telegram channel, Product Star. So yeah, guys, I wish everybody a nice day, and also be healthy and stay positive, I would say, in these times.
Yep.
Last word to you, Abhi.
Yeah, stay safe, everybody. Have a happy weekend. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.